before we're developing a leader into the role, there's different leadership positions, right? So I understand from our own organization and helping our clients get elevated and, grow their business to a certain degree and a certain level. Often they're coming into our world without any leadership at all. And
Mhm.
the owner is the leader, and they're trying to figure out or navigate some questions. And some of those questions are, when do I add leaders, right? And then another question that they might have is, where do I need those leaders, right? Like, is it, a COO? Is it, or other people would call it an integrator from, Wickman's language, or just a business manager, office manager, something like that? Or do I need somebody overseeing specific departments within the business? So before we even talk about let's develop leaders, can we talk about where do we need leaders, and is there a specific place within the organization that's the right place to start?
Yes. So it goes back to what the strategy of the organization is and what their growth model looks like. Once they're clear about where they want to go, then they can begin populating what would a potential, I'll just use org chart as a frame of reference. So if we are growing and this is what our expectations are in the next 6 months, what we know is we're going to need, I don't know, an operations manager that it moves into a senior business operations leader who can lead the projects. We might need a CFO. We might need just a controller. However, until the organization does some due diligence on where they're headed, then they're just going to start throwing people in leadership roles, and it's not going to make any difference. I mean, it might be good for the individual performer because they're learning. However, if you're really thinking about growth potential in the organization, you have to be very strategic about where you're growing and then who's going to help propel your business forward.
I I mean, typically when a business is growing, right, like we either need to grow on the sales and marketing side, right, or we need to grow on the product delivery side as the starting point, right? So I imagine those would be the first places that we need leaders. Is there a rule of thumb to determine, when a leader is needed? Is it a certain number of people on the team? Is it a certain amount of time spent in that area of the business? I know it's different depending on the business, but there's a lot of people who listen to this podcast that are new to this whole concept of, hey, I even need a leader, right? So when we're looking at that, it could be really confusing, and often business owners don't take the next step they need to take because they're just in this place of like, I don't know what to do next. If choosing between putting a leader on the marketing side or putting a leader on the product delivery side, which is the one that you think is the higher priority when somebody's first starting to insert leadership in their organization?
Well, I'll go back to what you just said. It depends. And of course, it depends on strategy because that's what I just
Hmm.
talked about. But what you want to be thinking about is which of those positions is going to give you the most growth potential to be able to move the business where you want to go. And it's really up to the leader to make that decision of who's coming in. Now, what I want to respond to also is like, when is it time to put a leader in a role? It's time to put a leader in a role when you no longer have that expertise. You've got multiple people. They may not all be speaking the same language. They may not all be headed in the same project viewpoint as you would like them to be. And you don't have the time, the capacity, or the capability to be able to continue to grow that piece of the business. That's when you know it is time to put someone in charge that is not you, because you cannot be everything to everyone. And the best leaders hire the smartest people who are smarter than them in whatever their expertise is.
Yeah, I love that. And going back to the original discussion, right? Like being an expert in something doesn't necessarily make you a good leader. So we have to be really careful, as we navigate that, marrying the expertise. You don't necessarily need the smartest person in the room to be the leader. As a matter of fact, the smartest person in the room should probably be underneath the leader, right? They should be out there executing on the specific area of expertise that they're so really good at.
And let me just say one other thing about that because it made me pop. So when I was in tech and we would bring and elevate the really good technical people to be account managers. Oftentimes it didn't work so well because of what we're just talking about. They just didn't have the skill set. But the other thing I can't stress enough is Does that person want to be a leader? And some people go, no, I love what I do. In tech, what we had to do, we put a whole career track for technology in place because we had so many technical people who said, I don't want to be a leader. I don't want to manage anything. I don't want to lead anything. I love what I do. I want to lead myself and be a self leader and be the expert in this particular technology. So not everybody wants to be. So just because as a leader, I go, oh, Moshe, you should be this, you may say, not interested. So there has to also be a connection between, oh, yes, I would like to do that.
You know, it's very interesting that you bring that up because we've had similar conversations around motivating staff, right? Like if you want to do performance-based compensation, something like that, often we think that everybody just wants more money. And the reality is that so many people are not motivated by money and they're motivated by other things like a parking spot or recognition or a half a day off or, you know, whatever the case may be. Like there's so many other ways that you can reward somebody and you have to understand your people. So it's important to have these conversations and not make assumptions, and I think that, you know, like bringing that up here is really important because we really want to have buy-in from our people with everything that we do. So if we just come up with some crazy idea from our perch up top and execute on that, often we're alienating the staff because we're off the mark when it comes to fulfilling their needs, helping them with their career path, or motivating them. So if we have conversation with them and ask them for their input, you know, what do you want? Whether it's, do you want to be a leader or do you want to just be the best that you can be in this role, as well as other things like what motivates you in compensation? What do you like to do in your free time? You know, all that stuff. If we ask them those questions and then they get offered the thing that they said they wanted, now they've got skin in the game. They're the one who asked for it. They're
Yes.
much more likely to want to succeed, to step into that role, to prove that what they asked for is really what they wanted.